Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Mike Prater. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame, weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Now, here's Mike Prater and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing? Good morning, Boise State fans. Welcome on in. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. It is a Monday, and usually that means John Mallory, but we're switching it up today. Mike Prater is going to fill in for Johnny today, and then Mike, we get to this is the start of 3.5 hours of you and I getting to talk together today. I'll be I'm sure you never in a million years imagined you were looking forward to that, and you probably still aren't. But 95.3 The Ticket, I'll be filling in today for Johnny, so you and I will be on the show from 3 to 6. So the start of a long fun day, sir. How are you?
Yeah, it's always a great way to start off. Mondays are stupid anyway to begin with, BJ. Now we have to spend 3.5 hours together. Are you kidding me? No, we're kind of joking here, and it's a great Monday. It's actually a good Monday, and kudos to Johnny, who's off dealing with family business today, and I can't wait to get him back tomorrow. And I know he'll sit in for me on Thursday, but and I'm sure he's let's clear up the rumor. He's not celebrating or hungover from a Seahawks playoff victory. So let's get that out of the way right now. So Johnny's being responsible, doing the family thing, and what a beautiful Monday. If I had to come in and sit on a Monday after a big Boise State basketball game, the start of Boise State's football season, and oh, by the way, we got ourselves a college football national championship game tonight. We do. We're going to talk about that as well, but we got to start with basketball. Obviously, we had a rare courtside appearance from Mike Prater on Saturday, and if you have some comments, thoughts, get them into the YouTube chat, the Idaho Central Credit Union YouTube chat. We appreciate them for sponsoring that, but get those comments in if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook. We'd prefer you go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the page there, and then you can jump in and we'll get those comments on the air. And we've already got some coming in. Jordan's still buzzing from that Extra Mile Arena atmosphere on Sunday afternoon. What a game. Go Broncos. Mike, as I said, you've been following the team, obviously, but you're working on a column on Max and Leon, and you were sitting there kind of courtside right between me and the TV announcers. What were your general takeaways from seeing this team up close and in person, sir? Yeah, it was such a special day, and it was really a lot of fun. And you knew it was going to be that kind of day, and I got there early. I wanted to kind of soak it in and kind of walked around the crowd and checked it all out. It was one of those rare moments when Boise State basketball just really captures this community's attention. And back in the day, it happened a lot, and certainly under Leon Rice, it's been happening more. But Saturday was special. It was a lot of fun. You could tell that Boise State, the place was vibrant and electric. I've heard that building louder. I've seen more energy in that building, but I think that's because Boise State basketball, they dominated right from the start. It's almost like they stepped their foot on Utah State's throat right from the start, and they made this game a 20-point game almost from the very beginning, and then they just kept on going. So it was great energy. Was it the electric energy in a close game that we've seen before? No. But Boise State took care of business, and that's all that really matters. It was a cool day inside that building, BJ. Hey, I'll tell you what, they announced it as a sellout. Obviously, every seat wasn't taken. They're still having some of the issues with some of the lower-level seats not getting used. But it's becoming, at least it was on that day, a tougher ticket to get, and kind of almost the cool thing to do in town is to go to the basketball game. And you saw Andy Avalos there. Bush Hamden was there. I saw Chuck Pagano, Scott Butterfield. We saw our friend Barry Warner from the Tavern,
all kinds of people were there.
College running around with a Robin George basketball uniform, and that guy was the craziest person in 12,500 people, and Darren College was acting like the crazy man. It was kind of fun to watch.
I feel pretty confident in saying he was wearing an authentic Robin George jersey, because I don't know if they ever made any that weren't authentic. But yeah, he was rocking the number 10. I
started giving him some crap about that, and he goes, "Come on, Prater." He goes, "Mr. Smooth? You're making fun of Mr. Smooth?"
They called him Big.
You're calling Robin George Mr. Smooth?
No, that was his nickname back in the day, Big Smooth.
Was it really?
Yeah, the players in Leon always called him Big Smooth back in the day. But yeah, he was and so then I think they put Darren up on the during the muscle cam or something, and he got the crowd fired up and was doing some muscles and stuff. So it was kind of a who's who in the crowd, and everybody was there, and it was kind of just a fun. I think 4:30 was the perfect time for it, and yeah, it really wasn't much of a game from the start. Boise State kind of jumped out and kept a comfortable lead, and we'll get to the big week this week coming up, but I mean for them to do what they did, Mike, and the computers reflected it. They made a big jump in a lot of the computer metrics rankings. I mean, that was a pretty impressive performance against a pretty good team.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed. I spent most of my time just focusing on, because I was doing that Leon and Max column, and spent most of my time just watching those two and seeing if they interacted at all during a basketball game, because they were talking about how they interacted during practice and stuff. So I spent a lot of time doing that, but obviously with the way that Boise State was playing, and Max got off to a little bit of a slow start, and then all of a sudden he banged a couple of threes, and Tyson was playing great basketball, a nice team effort. So it was really fun. I was really worried that Boise State might come out and just kind of be a little bit lethargic, but they were prepared and they were ready, and they shut down. And you kind of talked about that. Kudos to you, BJ. I don't know if you said it, that Utah State wasn't quite as good as maybe the record showed, and Boise State showed that yesterday. Boise State felt that. They came up with a great plan, and they went out there and executed it. It was a beautiful day of basketball.
I guess when you look at the net ranking and they're the ranked number 21 coming into the game, I just didn't know if they were the 21st best team in the country.
No.
I mean, they're a quality team, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them. They obviously missed a lot of wide open threes that if they would have made, and I think they were shot 5 of 12 from the free throw line, or 6 of 14 from the free throw line as well. So they had an off night, and they missed some shots they had been making this season. But are they a top 50 team? Probably, but are they the number 21 best team in the country, as the computer showed going into the game? I didn't think so, and that was kind of my point. But to take nothing away from Boise State, I mean, that was probably by far their best win of the season, and actually it helped Boise State that Utah State didn't drop as far as I thought they would in some of the computer metrics. They only went from I think it was 19 to 26 in terms of the net, so that still registers as a quad 1 game. They'll get another quad 1 opportunity on Wednesday. But you mentioned Max and Leon, and really nice column in Sunday's Idaho Press. Hopefully folks will go check that out online as well, or go find an old paper. But what was kind of the general synopsis of that for folks that didn't read it, and what do you make of how they're making this work here?
Yeah, I mean, the father-son combination doesn't always work. We've seen plenty of examples of where it doesn't work, and there's a few examples out there where it does work. And I was really kind of interested in the dynamic between the two. Obviously, I've been following Max for a couple of years, and not always on the same page with the way Max plays basketball, but there's no disputing the way he's contributing to this basketball team this year. I really, truly believe that he might be the most dependable, important person on Leon's roster based on all the intangibles he does. I mean, I know Tyson, I know Degenhardt, I know those guys are very, very important, but Max brings so many intangibles to the table, and some of those intangibles are being a coach's kid. And I just wanted to dive deeper into their relationship, how it was working, why it was working, and they're really on the same page. It's really funny, and you've spent a lot more time around the team than I do, but Max calls him Leon, and Leon calls him 12, and they really put the effort in to make sure that there's really no nepotism, no family business, and they really turn this into a family. And I think that's one of the bigger pieces of success. Having grown up as part of College of Southern Idaho basketball, where my dad, as a radio announcer, we were part of the family, and athletes would come over during the holidays, and we'd all play pickup. It'd be like one big, giant, happy family. And I don't see that at Boise State basketball over the 20, 30 years very often. And Leon Rice, to his credit, has created this beautiful family environment with a couple of sons. They come over to his house. They come and hang out. The players are in the hot tub. They're swimming. They're eating. They're hanging out, playing with the dog. It's a beautiful family environment, and I really think that contributes to the success of this program.
Well, Max had a nice game, as you said, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists as well, and had that big three-pointer right before halftime, which I thought was big because as well as Boise State had played, they were only up 12. He bangs that in, gives them some momentum going to the half, and then he had the exclamation point as well with about 40 seconds left in the game where he hit a long three from the top of the key as well to make the margin 23. So Boise State gets a big-time win, as I said, their best win of the season, and still a lot of work to do, Mike, obviously, but I think they're slowly creeping back into that conversation, whether you want to call it bubble talk or whatever. I mean, this is a team now that I think is going to have a chance to get back to the tournament if they can continue to play well for the first time in school history 2 years in a row. I mean, it was not looking like that earlier in the season, but you look at the wins they're starting to rack up, their resume. Some of the other teams that they've beaten are doing a little better than they have been, and so it's helping the computer metrics. And I saw somebody, the Field of 68, that does their bracketology, and they had Boise State in the first 4 out as of this morning. So, I mean, they're starting to creep towards the tournament, and we'll see what Joe Lenardi and Jerry Palm and those guys have to say. I don't think they're there yet, but that's, I think, their seventh top 100 win, or at least 6 top 100 wins now. And they're starting to, they're going to wish they had the South Dakota State one back. First game of the season, that was a rough one. South Dakota State, Leon gambled that we'll let South Dakota State have a game before us, but we're going to make them travel all the way out to Idaho. And the game experience of a close game benefited South Dakota State. That kind of backfired, and they lost that one. The Nevada one as well is going to, you could easily be 3-0 in league right now if you had just made a play or two down the stretch or made one defensive stop there. Yeah. So that's going to hurt them. But overall, they got some quality wins, and they look like another quality basketball team this year.
One of the things that I saw on Saturday that was very encouraging to me, and I need to see it more consistently, and I know that this is a major concern is in terms of the depth and how they're going to play over these final 8 weeks of the regular season. Depth is a major concern, but on Saturday we saw Kobe Young coming in and playing decent minutes. We saw Milner coming in and contributing with some decent time. A couple of other guys that came in and did some nice things off the bench. So I think Boise State, even if it's just a little bit, 5 minutes at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time, it needs to build this depth because it kind of got away from them last year. And they need 7, 8, maybe even 9 guys deep at the end of this season. I know Max is playing hurt. A couple of these other guys are inconsistent in terms of their bodies and trying to stay healthy. So it was very encouraging to see a couple of guys come off the bench and contribute because Boise State's going to need that over these next 8 weeks.
What do you make of, last year they had Kejab and Akot and Armouche, and you kind of replace that this year with Abbo's kind of the main newcomer, and the other two haven't really panned out as much so far. But overall, in terms of this year's team versus last year's team, do you have a thought on where it shapes up at this point in the season?
Well, the first obvious one would be in the middle, in the post. You're not going to be able to win this championship with Tyson Degenhart playing the 5. As good of a player he is, that robs your team of his great strengths, and it really is kind of just plugging a finger into a hole there. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime. It's not like Mo Silla all of a sudden is going to become Dikembe Mutombo. It's not going to happen. So I think they're going to have to deal with that all season long. So that concerns me. I never thought I would say this, but Boise State really misses Mladen Armouche and his muscle in the middle. I still think that they're tough. They're rebounding great. They're doing a lot of statistically what Leon wants to do in a tough basketball team, and that's the number one word for him in terms of winning his championship. The toughest team is going to win the Mountain West. I don't know if Boise State's the toughest team right now. They're doing it with different ways, but I think that may hurt them next year in terms of the inside presence, the toughness, the mental strength, some muscle inside. I'm going to keep a close eye on that one.
Hey, we're broadcasting from the Cutwater Canned Cocktail Studios, the mobile studios here in Meridian. More than 30 flavors of premixed premium cocktails. Pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. And Mike, you got to love this for product placement. Cutwater is donating some beverages for the private jet trip on Wednesday for our winner. So Matt Bauscher and our winner, Greg McVeigh, will be partaking in some Cutwaters on the flight down, courtesy of Cutwater. So we appreciate them. Make sure to check them out at your local gas station or a grocery store. Rowpaint.com, our title sponsor. Use that promo code. It's still going, BNN15. BNN15 is the promo code. You get 15% off the interior painting of your home. You can do that at roepaint.com. Lithia Ford of Boise. We appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise, a love of community and the sport that brings us together. That's why Lithia Ford of Boise is the official sponsor of Bronco Athletics and proud to be part of Bronco Nation News. But no matter what team colors you wear, Lithia Ford wants you to know that you're welcome here. And, of course, we love Idaho Central Credit Union as well, iccu.com. Check them out. They stepped up in a big way to support Bronco Nation News this year. So if you're not happy with your banking, make the switch today, iccu.com. You will not be disappointed. It was one of the best decisions I made was switching over to ICCU recently, and I'm very happy I did. We have a loan through them for our car as well, and it's just so easy, our truck, and it's so easy to pay. And we love ICCU here in the Rains household and at Bronco Nation News. So appreciate them for their support as well. Mike, big week this week though for Boise State. They go to UNLV on Wednesday, as I mentioned. It's our contest winner, so we'll have all kinds of content on Wednesday. I am traveling to Las Vegas tomorrow evening. We'll have Wednesday's show live from the sports book at Circa in the morning. I'm sure you're going to be jealous of that one, Mike.
Yes.
And then we'll have coverage all day. I'll be at the airport greeting with video footage of the jet when it arrives with our winner, Greg McVeigh. And then they'll be riding via limo back to Circa. And then we're going to have a fun day there with the contest winner. And then it all culminates with what's becoming a monster game now. It's a quad one game for Boise State. And UNLV, man, they have surprised some people. They're playing really well this year and going to Vegas, and that's always a unique atmosphere down there. And so you got that one, and then you turn around on Saturday, Mike, and have to go right back to Wyoming, who nearly, they haven't been great this year, don't have Graham Ike, but nearly beat San Diego State on last Saturday. They were winning the game with like 3 minutes and let it slip away, so that's going to be a really tough game as well. My question to you is, Mike, the next week after that, you have Nevada at home, and then you go to New Mexico. Okay, New Mexico has lost 2 straight. They're looking a little vulnerable, but still a sold-out crowd at the pit. That's not going to be easy. The next 4 games, 3 on the road, at Las Vegas, at Wyoming, home to Nevada, who already beat you, and then at New Mexico. Those 4 games, if you told Leon Rice right now you could go 2-2 in those 4, would you take that, or do you need to get to 3-1?
I almost think you need to get to 3-1. That's a tough schedule. 3 of the 4 are on the road against good teams. And I'm also looking at the schedule, how it ends in February. There's another tough little road, series of games. This is a tough conference. This is a tough league this year. I don't think there is any kind of a weak presence. Wyoming's not playing great on paper, but we know statistically that they can come out and do some things. I think they got to go 3-1. If you ask me what the consequences are if they don't go 3-1 and if they go 2-2, what are they? They could still dig out of that hole. That wouldn't be that big of a deal. But they, as you pointed out, as this show started, they're getting momentum. They're finding their groove, and I think we're really short on this season. And Boise State just needs to stay in this good vibe situation that they're in right now. They've got to win 3 of 1 or 3 of the 4. If you ask me, 2-2, that'd be a little bit of a. I'd be a little bummed about that one, BJ.
Yeah, I don't know. Where are the 3 coming from? That's going to be a tough stretch. The game at UNLV would be huge if you could find a way to get that to start this stretch off. Because if you lose, then you're kind of playing from behind, having to face another road game a couple days later at Wyoming. But it gets a little bit easier, I guess, if I can say that, after the New Mexico game, because you get Fresno State, Colorado State at home. You go to Air Force; those are all winnable games. But then you go right back to San Diego State after that. So you're right. There really are no breaks. I forgot to ask you about the game, Mike, and a lot of people are wanting to bring up number 30 and kind of some of the extracurriculars that were going on with Dan Aiken. Jordan says he became the villain when he hit the ball towards the fans. Everyone was cheering the fouls. Now, Big Wade says he can play. We'll see him in the NBA. I'm not sure I'm ready to go there.
No.
But overall, what'd you make of the 2 issues? And then late in the game, everybody was booing him whenever he touched the ball, and then he got ejected, and everybody was loving that. That was the crowd definitely got a little more lively and got into the game there late when the extracurriculars were going.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed this, but early in the game, like in the first 5 minutes of the game, when Utah State missed a couple of shots and a couple of things went against him, I didn't really know much about this guy, but you could tell he was the emotional guy on this roster because he was the one that was kind of whining and complaining and throwing his arms up. You can tell who the emotional guy is on a basketball team by his body language. And right off the bat in this game, he was kind of whining and pouting. And, I talked to a couple of people, and they said they thought that his energy sucked energy out of the rest of his teammates, the way he was playing in the first 5 minutes, because he was pouting and whining and just giving you that kind of presence. So I think that started way early. He was having a frustrating game, and then at the end there, it really boiled over. Not a good look. I didn't like that guy. And no, I was not. Maybe he plays better in other games. Maybe he is an NBA guy, but I certainly didn't see anything close to that on Saturday.
And quick plug, by the way, Colin Mitchell, who works for us here at BNN, obviously says New Mexico has an interesting game tonight. They did add a game with Oral Roberts, who's actually a really good quality team. That is tonight, because I forgot about this. The game against New Mexico State was canceled when they had the shooting.
Oh,
and
that's
so
right.
New Mexico was looking for a game. Oral Roberts had a game canceled, I think, as well. And I believe that Oral Roberts, let me just check this real quick. Oral Roberts comes in at number 79 at KenPom. So that's kind of a sneaky, interesting game for them as well. But I do want to throw in a plug. Starting every Monday afternoon, Mike, Colin is doing a Mountain West roundup for us. So every Monday afternoon, if you're wanting to stay up to tune on the Mountain West, get a little recap on every team, kind of what happened in the last week, what their schedule is looking like this week, and how the standings are shaken down. BroncoNationNews.com. Colin's going to have the Mountain West roundup for you every Monday afternoon, probably is when it'll be posted here moving forward for the rest of the season. But Mike, we do have football to talk about a little bit. Boise State. We're going to focus on this on the afternoon show today as well. Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6. As if you came in late, I'll be co-hosting today with Mike Prater, and looking forward to this. But this is the first day with the new strength staff and the new, starting the slate clean for the 2023 season. Winter conditioning workouts. I think 6 a.m. They were all back in there today, probably on the blue and the cold and the rain and the wind. But the unofficial kind of ceremonial start to turning the page to 2023, winter conditioning started today for the Boise State football team.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not to get too personal here, but I woke up really early this morning, like around 5 or 6, and my power was out. So I was laying in my bed in a complete total darkness, and I was thinking about that exactly, that in about an hour, the Boise State football season could potentially be starting on the day when the 2022 season finishes. How ironic is that? I guess Boise State could have been out there on the blue today. Certainly the winter conditioning season starts today. The 2023 season starts today. We reached out to Boise State to see if we can get the new strength coach. They're not quite organized there yet. So, I want to get to know him a little bit more. He's going to be the most important guy on this football team for the next couple of months. So, very interesting. We're going to talk about that on Idaho Sports Talk at 3 o'clock today. Who needs to get bigger? Who needs to get stronger? Who needs to get faster? That's when this stuff takes place over these next couple of months. So the football season starts today, BJ. That's not a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. And you look up and you're, less than 2 months away already, probably from the start of spring ball. They've got all the coaches filled, right? All the coaching spots, I think, are now filled. And so now it's kind of back down to business. But there are still some key players that, we'll have to maybe try to, if they post some pictures, maybe see, Mike, if we can find some guys in some pictures or not, because there's still, 5+ key players that have not made their intentions known whether or not they're coming back next year.
Yeah, Billy Bowens is certainly one of them for me. Dimitri Washington is one of them for me. DJ Schramm, Garrett Curran. Those were the guys out of the 29 seniors. Those are the only ones that I really couldn't figure out. I don't think you have any information there as well. So, yeah, Bowens, Dimitri Washington, Schramm, and Curran. Keep an eye on those guys. We certainly want to figure out if those guys are with the football team starting today, and we'll try to get that answer before Idaho Sports Talk at 3 o'clock with you today on here at KTIK. We'll try to get Boise State to confirm whether those guys are with the team or not. But everybody else is kind of taken care of. Cobbs, Beresford, Smith, we know that those guys are coming back, and the other seniors are gone. Although Ojukwu has never really put out the I'm declaring for the NFL draft. Everybody else has, except Ojukwu. We assume that he's gone. We know he's gone, but
yeah, he's gone.
We're assuming that he's going to go off and pursue the NFL at this point. But yeah, a couple of pieces left in terms of the roster maintenance, and we'll figure that out over these next day or two.
Yeah, nothing, it's good for the Divine Obucheris of the world and stuff. Let them thank the fans and have their graphic. But, I mean, when you're out of eligibility, out of eligibility, and you're obviously going to, quote, declare for the NFL draft. So, yeah, we haven't seen that from John, but that's not really his style anyway.
No,
just give me a yes or no on those guys, your gut feeling. DJ Schramm, is he back?
No, I think DJ Schramm is going to move on to bigger, better things, and it might be something to do with medical and rehab, and he's really smart up in the stairs. Football is the family business, and his dad was a coach for a long time, but I think DJ Schramm has bigger aspirations moving forward.
And my what I've heard on that is if Papa has a say, or if he listens to Papa, he'll be back next year. But if he has too much surgeries and rehab and things he needs to do where it's not worth it to do a 9-month rehab to come back next season, then yeah, he may move on. Garrett Curran. I'm going to say yes. I think Garrett Curran's back.
Yeah, I say Garrett Curran's back, and that's a huge part of this offensive line puzzle. I think Boise State absolutely needs Garrett Curran back. I think he does come back.
And then you mentioned Billy Bowens.
Yes, I think Billy Bowens comes back to a very crowded wide receiver room.
And Dimitri Washington.
Dimitri Washington. That's going to be a 50-50 special.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going yes on him.
Then I'll just, for the sakes of giggles, I'll say no. But I have no real thought on that one. He's another kid, really bright future, really smart dude, way, way beyond football. And he's had to deal with a lot of injuries. I say that he kind of wraps it up and moves on to bigger things in life.
Hey, if you're looking for a new job, check out Transportation Compliance Service. They can help you get into the trucking industry. It's a booming industry right now, so they can get you all the permits and things you need to get out there, whether it's the truck on the screen or the Amazon truck in your neighborhood. Check out transcompservice.com. If you're looking for a new dentist, Dr. Meinert, BoiseDentistryCo.com and his team, they do a tremendous job. Full family dentistry. They're the Rains family dentists, and we couldn't be happier that we made the switch. Locations across the Treasure Valley, from Mountain Home to Caldwell, everywhere in between. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. United Commercial Insurance, 229-8222. They make business insurance easy, and they can write policies in 44 states around the country. Bronco Nation News is a client. We'll be adding some more insurance here in the near future, and they make the process very easy. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. My understanding is, Mike, they're putting together a package with some food and some items for our winners as well, and Matt Bauscher to partake in on the private jet. Now, Colin's riding down on the jet too, but I told him no cutwaters. He's working on Wednesday, so he'll be filming, but everybody else will be enjoying the cutwaters and the food from Ridley's, and we appreciate them. ShopRidleys.com, 13 locations. Go download the Ridley's app. It's a new app they have, and it's got some great deals, so check them out, ShopRidleys.com. And the Blue and Orange Store, I've been telling you, but the deal's still going. Free shipping, any order over $40. Check it out. Free shipping, any order over $40, where you can go into the Town Square Mall there on the second floor yourself, the blueandorange.store.com. And, Mike, we're trying to bulk up the forums. You know, we got the message boards on our website, and it's mostly on me, but I've kind of neglected to really say much about them. I've been there's so many other fires I'm putting out on the site and doing things, but we're trying to build that back up. So this week, whether it's the guy that has the most posts or the best posts, we're just going to kind of pick who we think is deserving, and we're going to give away a $25 gift card to the Blue and Orange Store for whoever goes on to the Bronco Nation News message boards and has the best week, I guess, till Friday in terms of a good post or the most posts. I don't know. I do want to ask you quickly about the national championship game, Mike, but I have a personal problem that I need your help on.
Fire away, bud.
Anyone that watched our show, our post-game show on Saturday, I was doing the post-game show. I'm talking about this big win, and I get a text message from my wife with a picture of a mouse trap with 2 mice in the trap. And so, of course, the best response was somebody saying that we need to get a pest control sponsor on here. And yeah, I would love to find that. But so we had originally found one in the garage. And, you know, as most people know, my family hasn't been here very much the last 9 months. I'm not going to lie, stuff in the back of the pantry probably hasn't been touched in 9+ months. You know, I did a lot of healthy eating, Mike, as you would think a bachelor would do by himself. I'm going back there to look for all that flour and sugar in the back of the thing, you know, often. But anyway, my wife was a little nervous about it. We found one in the garage. I said we could have been there for a year. Who knows? I do the good husband thing. I go buy some traps, even though I don't think it's necessary. We put 2 traps in the pantry, one in the garage, and my wife and kids leave to go to the Utah State game. They come home 4 hours later, and there's already 2 mice in the trap in the pantry. Ooh. So we take those 2 mice out and throw them away, obviously. And I come home, and, of course, I'm not going near the pantry. So I come up and work in my office to finish my story, and everything's good. And wake up Sunday morning, and there's 2 more mice in the trap down in the pantry. So we're at 4 that we found basically still alive in the trap when we got them. So we go through the whole pantry, all the things, and you can see that there was holes in the flour and all this stuff. And it was like Ratatouille, that movie where they're just everywhere, probably up there. So we do, and my wife, is in the back part of the kitchen while I'm in there, being the good, tough husband, pulling stuff out, and we're going through it. And long story short, we get the entire pantry completely empty, completely wiped down, clean. It's, and now it's about 1/10 of what was actually in there before is still in there. It looks like we have, no food, but, I said, it's okay. We're good. There's no more. They're all gone. Put the trap in there last night when I go to bed. We wake up and there's another one. So we're at 5. We're at 5 live mice. I guess you call an exterminator. Is there someone you can call for that? Or what should I be moving to a hotel for a few days or what?
I don't know if I'd move to a hotel, but you definitely need to call that exterminator. That's a good one. You don't want those suckers to keep showing up. So I have an ant problem at my house, so we're having the same conversation. Go get an exterminator and get a new sponsor and then send him my way as soon as you take care of the mouse problem. But
Josh says get a cat.
No, don't get a cat. I'd rather have an exterminator than a cat.
Final thing, and I probably pushed this over by 30 seconds by bringing that up, but final thing, TCU playing for a national championship tonight, Mike. Bob Beeler's lucky enough to get to go to that game. I'm jealous as heck. But what are your quick thoughts on the game, and in terms of how TCU, maybe we'll get into this more on the show, TCU's path from the Mountain West to the national championship game in barely a decade, what that does if you're a Boise State fan. I know the playoff system is changing, but pretty cool to see TCU playing for a national title tonight.
Yeah, and I don't think they're the little sisters of the poor. This isn't the cute little darling story. I think TCU is real. Last week, I made 2 confessions on Idaho Sports Talk. One, I stopped gambling 2 months ago. I haven't placed a bet in 2 months because I'm the world's worst gambler, and I've officially decided to never gamble again. But with that said, I also think the greatest bet, the easiest bet out there right now is TCU plus the 12.5 points. I didn't see what the line is today.
13.
I love the points then, especially if I get another half a point. Give me the 13 points. But, BJ, I woke up this morning as I was laying there in the dark waiting for my lights to come back on. I did get that piece of inspiration. If I was to bet, and I'm being tempted hard today, I'm going money line. I think TCU is going to win this football game. I don't think TCU is this darling little team.
Wow.
I see some chinks in the armor for Georgia, especially defensively. And I think that TCU and Max Duggan are one of these ultimate sweetheart type of stories, and their offense is legit. TCU's offense is better than Georgia's defense. TCU is going to win a national championship tonight.
Kansas could have beat him. How about that?
How about that, buddy?
That still eats at me. But, well, Mike, appreciate your time, and we'll do it again for 3 hours, 3 to 6 today. Hopefully, guys, folks will tune in. 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, the KTIK app, KTIK.com, all the great ways to find us. And we got a big show. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk some more Boise State offseason starting, Boise State basketball, and an interesting anniversary today as well, Mike.
Yep, a couple of for Boise State and for College of Idaho football. A couple of major coaching hires were made on this date in the past few years, so we're going to dive into that, and we'll also dive into Boise State football and the National Football League playoffs. A lot of connections, a lot of things going on with Boise State in the playoffs. So we got a loaded show today at 3:00, BJ.
Appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate everybody for checking us out. Leon Rice and players meeting with the media today. We'll get those posted to our YouTube channel as well. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you at 3:00 on Idaho Sports Talk. This has been Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.